To my dear second prince of Timith, ever since receiving your letter after I returned home following my month-long visit to you at your father's palace, I have read and reread its contents, leaving no phrase unturned. Be rest assured, my dear prince, that you have not escaped my thoughts for a moment since we departed, lest I be a changed man for not thinking about you. Whenever I remember your sweet smile, my heart is filled with joy and warmth. Yet it still saddens me that we must be apart for the time being. My dear prince, how I have longed to be with you so, ever since we were last able to hold each other in our soft embraces. How I wish to run my fingers through your hair, to feel its softness as you lay your head on my lap. How strongly I wish to once more lie down on the grass in a quiet field with no one disturbing us, gazing upon the stars in the heavens above. I can picture our last evening together as clear as day. The clearing in the forest on the outskirts of the castle, the soft, luscious grass we were lying on, the wind gently blowing across the field on the cool summer's evening, the stars penetrating the sky like a bright wound in the inky blackness of the ether. Remember the constellation you pointed out that reminded one of a love heart? I had to squint me eyes a tad bit, but I could see it. And I can see it tonight as well. The sugar snap shortcakes and jam biscuits we stole from the kitchen were especially delicious that evening. I'm chuckling to myself as I write this letter to you, as I cherish our memories so fondly. Life in my father's kingdom continues to be a chore, as I'm sure you are well aware. Magic lessons in the morning, arithmetic, science, and literature in the early afternoon, and archery in the late afternoon. Day in and day out. However, I suppose I should be grateful I have my evenings to do as I please. Today after lessons I ran back to my room to read your letter so I could write back as soon as possible. I knew it had arrived during archery practice as I saw a messenger falcon soaring above the forest towards the castle where I was hunting. Waiting to finish archery today was beyond agonizing. It felt as though my sole duty was to make haste and return to the castle so that I could write back to you as soon as possible. I must confess, as heir apparent to the throne of the Kingdom of Whylde, I am expected to maintain composure at all times and keep my younger siblings in check, which can be exhausting sometimes. Fortunately, my younger sister Shaya is able to keep my younger siblings in line most of the time, but she busies herself in the library so often I'm surprised she hasn't turned into an owl already. My other younger siblings normally aren't an issue, but if one decides to speak up without being told to at the dinner table, it looks bad upon me. And although I do not get directly in trouble for it, I know that lessons in arithmetic or archery lessons the day after will be much more difficult, likely at the direction of my father the king. But it's all right. Speaking of family, I recently learned that one of my cousins was planning on running away with a vampire and living with them in their kingdom as a human. Can you imagine? My father was so outraged, he placed a trading embargo with that vampire kingdom without hesitation, threatening to cripple their economy unless their vampire publicly denounced their relationship with my cousin. Quite the fuss, wouldn't you agree, my dear prince? While human-vampire relationships are normally fine, for some reason, the royal family of Whylde hasn't supported them. It's unfortunate, really. I am curious, though, how my cousin got into contact with a vampire. Vampires certainly aren't allowed near royal castles and academies. Perhaps my cousin met them while sneaking out of the castle? I would not put that past them. They are the cheeky type, I do suppose. I do feel bad for my cousin, though. I can't imagine my father denying us the ability to be in a relationship. I must make mention of something, however. Though my father, the king, would wish nothing more than for me to fall in love with a dainty princess from a faraway kingdom, I wish for nothing more than to be held in your sweet embrace, to feel your warmth and to hear your soft voice whisper sweet nothingness into my ears. God save the king. However, he could carry his wishes to his grave, and I will continue to love you. Fortunately, he and the queen are not fully opposed to our relationship. After all, his grandfather and my great-grandfather married another prince. But some relationships are unheard of from my father's mother's side. And alas, my grandmother's wretched way of thinking stains the king's conscience like a curse. However, those are all of trivial matters. When I am king one day, I will have my divine right to marry whomever I choose. And I hope that you would be willing to be the man that spends the rest of his life with me. I truly believe that the whispered secrets of the stars is that we are destined to be together, just as the sun rises and sets every day, just as the moon waxes from new to full, just as werewolves and vampires are forever at odds end. I will love you forever. My father is asking, or rather demanding, that I remain in his kingdom for another month before I may return to your kingdom, my dear prince. How irksome, is it not? What I would give to live my life freely. At the same time, I do understand that it would not look good for the heir apparent to be spending the majority of his days seemingly frolicking around in another kingdom. As such, I am suggesting, formally inviting, if you will, that you come stay in the Kingdom of Whylde with me. Although you'll be allowed to stay for an indefinite period of time if you so choose, I must warn you that my father will most certainly put you through magic and academic classes, plus a combat style of some sort, just like I have to do. It would be difficult, but we would be spending most of our days together. Plus, I can even take you into town in our spare time. Oh, actually, I just realized as I was writing this, we could have our lessons in one of our holiday chateaus. My father wouldn't mind that. The tutors and maids would have their own quarters, so we would have the entire lakeside chateau to ourselves. But I mustn't get ahead of myself. First, you should let me know if you would even want to visit me in Whylde, and then we can sort out the details. Admittedly, however, I am excited at the prospect of spending an extended period of time together. But that is all in due time. It's getting a bit late, and I'm considering stealing some jam biscuits from the kitchen to satiate my hunger, so I should not eat those too late before bed. So I will end my letter here. I'm sending this letter personally with a messenger spell, so that I will not have to wait until tomorrow morning to send it via messenger bird or horseback. Perhaps if you visited here, I could teach you how to use messenger spells. But anyway, I'll be thinking about your warm embrace as I fall asleep tonight, my dear prince. With immeasurable love, your boyfriend, till death us do apart, Lyfelde. Alright. I hope he likes it.